68 degrees. Now that's what I'm calling a little bit more spring-like, almost summer-like.
Have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
Windy though, very windy. So we had a decent day yesterday, and of course we have a good day today. We're going to get into some cooler days. We're going to be a little bit below average in the lower 50s, whatever. But I wanted to give you some update as far as what the paint looks like now that it's dry. We'll go ahead and hop in here. And she did a pretty good job. I think it's been, I think she did a really good job. I like it. I'm actually thinking about putting a porcelain toilet in here again. I keep on talking about it, and I'm thinking I might do it because although this is a good toilet, I think that now that we're going to keep this for a little bit, maybe we should get a porcelain one. As I mentioned on the other video, I had to go mow my daughter's lawn, so I had to get this beast out of here now. Everything's great about this truck, except for the cap. And why is that an issue? Because the steering wheels don't clear on these taller mowers like this one, or the old Sears GT mowers. So I had to flatten the tires. That's why the air compressor's here. So I'm gonna mow the lawn, and I'm going to try to enjoy this day as much as possible. There's not a lot I can do on the RV right now. As much as I'd like to start tearing it apart and putting the suspension on it that I want, I just can't do it now because quite honestly I don't have the money for it. It's about $450 for me to get the stuff that I want, and I just don't have it in the budget right now. So just like anything else, I'll make a little budget and put it off to the side, and when I get the money I'll do it. It's one of those things. That's what RVing on a budget's all about. One thing I do have to do at some point is exercise my generator, because there it is covered up in that blue tarp thing there, and that's where it's sat all winter. Yeah, I need to get that out. So let's go ahead and get some work done today, and I don't know when I'll pick this up. Well, today has been a beautiful day, but we didn't work on the camper. Heidi is out doing a wedding dress shop thing with our daughter for her wedding, and she's out with her mom, and I'm here with my son, and we were working on his van, and I'll show you what we got going on in here. It's all tore apart. Whoops. I replaced his window motor today in his driver's door, and he was having a problem with the carpet getting wet in this corner. That's what I thought was this window. So we got out the hose today since it was warm enough, and we just saturated this thing, and there was nothing coming in this window whatsoever. So then we found that this cable hatch, there's a couple of latches, and because this thing doesn't fit the furnace hole correctly, that's what this is. This is a hole that the furnace used to exhaust out of. They allow a little bit of water to come in, so we thought that was it, but it didn't seem like enough. So started researching a little bit more, and you can see we got all the wood pulled up here, which actually, even though this looks wet, it's not. It's part of the, because I told him, I said, oh yeah, the wood's all wet, and he said no. He says that's all the wood, it's just the color of the wood, and he's right, it's not wet. None of the wood's wet. So we thought it was this window. So I went ahead and pulled the window out and said we need to recaulk it and repaint it anyways, because it didn't look too good before the paint was flaking off. It needs some trim pieces, and anyways. So we sprayed up here, and we thought the window was leaking, but it wasn't the window. So again, more stuff came out. I went ahead and tore down the insulation, which we'll put all this back up now that we figured it out. And you can see that's all wet. I mean, now it's just dripped a little bit here. And the reason is because it was leaking off of this main piece right here, this framework. And what that is some rust up in there. I don't know if you could tell, but there's rust along there. So I thought, okay, so it's something up in here. Well, there's nothing up here. It's dry up in this part. It's coming from in this area. So let's go outside. So we had the hose, and we were spraying everything. You can see I repainted this. I got to pull the tape off still for the window. And I thought, okay, maybe the drip rail. There's a crack in the drip rail. And then I thought, no, this is solid metal. So, strangest thing ever. I've never seen this before, and I hope I don't ever see it again. There is no gap, crack, anything really to speak of in between the drip rail and the body panel here. But as you went back, it got larger. And there was a gap there. And you can see possibly all that black that's in there. That is polyurethane. I had to fill all that in because I told my son, I said, get your hands a little bit wet. I'm going to take my air gun. I'm going to blow in there with the air gun, and I want you to see if you can feel it. And I did. He goes, holy cow. He says, I was getting stuff in my eyes. I didn't need to have my hands wet. I can definitely feel it. So at this point, this window was out, and I reached through, and man, it was just straight through. So what was happening was the rain was overwhelming the drip channel, and it's running in. And since the drip channel's, you know, kind of tilted at an angle this way, it was running right up in that crack and into the van. I've never seen that. I mean, I thought for sure it was something up here. So this is the old vent tube, the stink pipe for the toilet. This isn't leaking. This is the same urethane that I just put up in this seam right here. This is the same urethane that I used to seal off all the holes. They're not leaking. I checked up here. I thought that was leaking. I mean, you can see we got a bunch of water that's puddled up there. None of that is leaking. It's not going anywhere. And we, of course, tried this because I told him, well, we did put this in. Maybe it's leaking somewhere, even though everything looks real good. And it didn't leak there either. So all of that was coming from that. So that's what I've been doing all day today. And I'm kind of tired, but I got to put this back together for him. It's all tore apart, and I let him take a break because he's got to go to the gym. He's going to be working out at the gym for a while, and then he'll come back a little bit later. He's got to go to work for a couple days. Then he's off for like 5 days straight. So we're going to work on his van even more. We might start some of that build, which again, I have a series that I'm putting together, which eventually you guys hopefully will see. But yep, Heidi's doing her thing with our daughter, and I'm doing my thing here with our son. So that's it for today. So let's see what we get into next. So yet another couple days, we finally got into the stretch that's going to stay warm. We were down into some cool temperatures and we weren't doing anything, but let's see. I don't know if I'm going to get anything done today or not, but I'll try. The wind slightly blowing there, you can see by the flag. And overall, it's pretty pleasant out. I'm not unhappy with today. It's better than the degrees that we've been seeing. Like I said, you know, 40's in the high. Let's go ahead and get in the truck here. And we also need to unlock the RV. So you can see we haven't done anything since the last time. It looks exactly the same. It's kind of chilly in here still. It's only 52. I'm going to go ahead and fire up the furnace to try to get this thing warm enough. That way, in case Heidi comes home and she wants to paint, she can. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think I need to work on this a little bit. The more I keep on contemplating it, I'm almost positive I'm taking this out. It does a great job, all except Heidi can't walk around the bed. Not too big of a deal because this TV shelf has always been here, so that's always been in the way also. So what I'm going to try to do is get some measurements and see how far out I can come with a corner shelf of some kind and where it may land, if it lands at all, on a stud of some kind. And I've always had this corner too that's available. So I'm thinking again the same thing, that I might try to do some corner, you know, sort of a corner thing. Basically figure out, do we really need enough, you know, any more storage back here? If we don't, I'm going to leave this open. Now, just because the platform is the size that it is, our bed does come out a little bit past that because it is a full-size queen. It's an RV queen, but it's a big RV queen. So it does hang off a little bit. That has to be taken in consideration whenever I figure out the corner also. As far as in here, I do have to pull all of the carpet out, the rest of the carpet that's here, and Again, we're talking about shopping and finding possibly a dinette that's already done that will fit in this area. We have to go to an RV salvage yard. There's one considerably north of here, so we're gonna have to do that on one of Heidi's days off. Yeah, there's a few things that I gotta do today. I gotta put some 9-volt batteries in the garage door opener. The back of my truck needs swept out really bad, and we do have a timeline, but it's way on down the road. You never know what you might run into here. As some of you guys saw the other day, I had to start the lawn mowing. That's something that I never necessarily look forward to, because although it's me time, I get to sit on the mower and just listen to music. I just hate doing it. All right, back in the garage. And these are the 2 holes that we need to fill with the wood putty, because we're turning the door upside down so it works correctly. You know, it's just one of those things that we're doing because we're cheap. And we'll drill a couple holes up here to reposition the handle once they've all been spray painted. All right, so I got the wood filler in there. We'll let that dry, which will be a couple days, and then maybe I'll do a little light sanding on it. And hopefully, like I said, it'll get warm enough I can spray paint some of this stuff for Heidi, make it the way she wants. I'm gonna pull this plate off and definitely spray paint it, because that looks horrible. I think she wants to paint this different. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what she wants. It's hard to tell it. That's her gig. I just do what she says. Maybe is the day to exercise the generator that's hidden back there. I'd have to put the battery in. Now the battery has been sitting here all winter long, right in that spot on this messy workbench, with one of these cheap Harbor Freight battery float chargers I've had for a long time, a long time. Hopefully the battery is still up to par, even though this battery was weak from the factory. I'll have to say that if you guys buy one of those Champion generators, you may want to think about having an external charger on it like this that will maintain it for long periods of time, because you're supposed to start it every few days to charge the battery. But if you have an external charger or a float like this that you can plug into your RV, it's something that I'm considering. We'll maybe get a new battery for this. I'm not sure. You can see how filthy it is back here, as far as leaves and dirt from when I had the mower in here. Reminds me whenever I used to do this all the time. It was like I would haul mowers and then I'd end up sweeping it all out, and then I'd haul mowers and then I'd sweep it all out. So I've got to sweep it all out because there's a good chance we might have to buy some wood and paneling, maybe some sensitive items that we don't want to have dirt on whenever we pick them up at the box store. Well, just like everything else, I got sidetracked. What a surprise. So I swept the back out. As I'm sweeping the back out, I was thinking about, you know, like I mentioned, putting the battery charger in. And then I remembered, maybe I should put the water tank in. It's down in the basement. It's a good day to do it. We don't have to worry about freezing. But when I had the vacuum out, I thought, okay, maybe I should vacuum the interior because it hasn't been vacuumed in a while. So all I did was just the floors and then the back here. So now I got to go wash the mats. I had to figure out where this thing was. I forgot I put this in the garage, but I put this in the basement. I was looking all over the basement for this. So for you guys that haven't seen the video prior, I'm going to put a link up above here. It'll pop up in the top of the screen. If you're on a computer, just click that. It'll take you to the video. Basically what this does is give me, so they say 42 gallons. I did the measurement. I don't think it's 42. I think it's 40. But this fits right underneath my winch that I have in the bed. So I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this. It's going to be nice and easy this time because, of course, everything's done. And I have a box of caps. I don't know if you guys have ever run across this, but man, it's one of the best things that I keep around. Let me show you. It took me a second to remember where it was. It used to hang back up there for I don't know how many years now, 15 years. And yeah, this is just caps. Every time I got a transmission, every time I got anything at all, I would keep the caps or anything that resembled a cap. And I don't know how well it's going to come off on camera now, but I pretty much have a cap for everything you can imagine, and that comes in really handy. Like in this case, you know, I didn't want nothing in the fill, so there's the cap for that. Throw it in there. I didn't want anything to get into the vent, so there's the cap for that, and of course the cap for that. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have those things. It's a good idea. And this is just an old dishwasher pod container we've had for years. Again, I'm having a hard time remembering where stuff is because of this downsizing and me trying to convert from everything in the shop to this tote, and then the tool tote that Heidi has that we used for the RV stuff, and then these two totes also, which I haven't put anything in. All right, so it's all in there, and you can see I'm filling it with water. I'm going to get a garden hose and connect to this end here so I can discharge and clean out the pump and make sure that the pump's okay. I know that it's running fine. I just don't want it to run real close here. I'd like to run it off into the yard, so I got to grab another piece of hose if I can find one. So I just went and found, luckily, in that tote, one of our old water hoses. Actually, one of our new water hoses, one that has some reinforcement. And now it's just a matter of flicking on the pump and seeing if it pumps water. Uh-oh, I don't hear water going through yet. I don't hear it yet. Still don't hear it. Oh, now I hear it. It's trying. It's trying. It's like the pump's... There we go. Ooh, it's not pumping out very much right now. I would expect to see more coming out of there. Expected more pressure, tell you the truth. Let's make sure this thing's not leaking. Like climbing up in here. That looks pretty good. I put a cover on this this time to make it a little bit more protective of this pump. And I don't see any air coming in. Make sure, look here. Yeah, there's no water down there. There's no leaks or anything, so it's all good. Make sure I got that back off of the hose. There we go. Well, I guess that's all the pressure. Yeah, I just thought there'd be more water pressure. It just don't seem like a lot of pressure, a lot of volume. But it is transferring the water. That's all that counts. Good. This is one thing done. I like that. Definitely. Now I got to work on the RV, like I said. I got to get inside there and do some work. This is why I didn't want to work in here. This stuff's so dirty and disgusting and dirty. And disgusting. So yeah, I got to tear the rest of this up, and I think what we're going to do once we figure out what we're building in here or installing in here, however that works, meaning a dinette area, you know, over here, we'll have the guy up the street come in and carpet this area, because we like the carpet here. So he'll have to redo this. I don't even know what you want to call that. Like I said, it's like a termination or a transfer from carpet to linoleum strip. I'm sure they still have them. I'm sure they still make it. It's curved. That's a little different, but anyways, let's get back to work. All right, so it's coming along. Had to zip off every one of those staples. I'll tell you what, they definitely put these things together really well. I mean, there was no way this carpet was going to come up. I don't even think the carpet that is in our house is put together that well. Look how many staples they put every inch. It's basically every inch. I can't believe that they were that worried about it. It was all the way up underneath this table. you know, in that little cubby all across here. And of course this strip here. I mean, there's just staples constantly for this little piece of carpet. They really didn't want that to come up, and you know, kudos to them. Mission accomplished. But I finally got it up, but man, I'll tell you what, that was such a pain. So let me clean all this mess up and take a gander at everything now. Well, it's all swept up, and it doesn't give me any better perspective, but it was something that needed to be done so I could get some sort of an idea of how we want the carpet laid out after we put in this, like I said, dinette or whatever we do. But yeah, we'll let this sit for now. I'll have Heidi take a look at it and give me her seal of approval or disapproval, one or the other. Alright, so Heidi's already given the okay for the stuff that was done today in the RV, and then she's painting. And I'm colorblind, but I can tell it's a little bit darker than white. It's some sort of gray, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the color looks pretty good. You like the color, or you want to go darker?
Well, I'm not going to go darker for this room if I go darker.
Okay.
Because it's not like I can return this paint. And I only got a quart of it, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it.
I like it too.
I like it, and it needs to remain bright in here, so it'll be okay.
So in other words, she's telling me I've got to wire in another light, which I already knew that. Ain't that right?
Yep.
Alright, so this is what we're stuck with doing. The RV's nice and warm inside. It's 74 degrees in here. I ran the furnace for probably an hour and a half today to get it toasty in here, and then the sun pretty much, with all the windows open, kind of kept it warm. So we're pretty good as far as that's concerned. But in the garage it's cold, and I didn't want to try to heat the whole garage with that kerosene heater, not knowing for sure if Heidi was going to paint or not. But yeah, I think it's coming along. What do you think?
Yep, finally.
Yeah, finally.
So ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. It's dumb. We'll have to get some measurements for those corner cabinets. I was telling the viewers today. And I was just mentioning to Heidi that we're going to have to see when, you know, she's off, what hours the people might be open at that business that has RV salvage, and see if we can find something that we can at least look at and get an idea as far as measurements and stuff. So that's where we're going to leave it. I'm not going to make you guys watch the paint dry. Although that would be fun. I could set up a time lapse. Alright guys.